And welcome back to Weekend with Betty. Thank you so much for joining us or staying with us, whichever the case. We appreciate you. This is Weekend with Betty, and of course we have a fantastic team here in studio to, of course, discuss this issue that is actually such a big problem right now in our society. I don't know if you've been watching or following the internet today. There's this song actually that was banned by the group Ethic, and you can imagine the lyrics, and we'll be talking about that. So I had, of course, earlier introduced my guest. Pastor Gashanja, I want us to start with you because you're in the church. And, you know, many times that this conversation normally comes up, it's all about it's the church. The church has failed society because they are no longer, teaching, people, their congregants. It's just about preach, 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 preach. But, they don't make time to actually talk about these issues. Is that true? Because sometimes, even the politics, remember, when we have issues, politically in the country, everybody just, but the church, where is the church? So where is the church?
Well, the church is actually addressing the issues. The church is actually talking about the issues. Unfortunately, the voice of the church is not loud enough. And the voice in the secular world, secular, is way louder, way stronger, way more powerful. So it drowns out the voice of reason that would come from the church. So I feel like that's what the issue is.
Are you scared? Are you a parent, first of all?
I am a parent. I have 3 sons.
Imagine that, 3 sons.
Yes.
And there's this song called Tarimbo that was banned today. And you can imagine them listening to such a song. Are you scared? Are you worried as a parent?
I am. I am because you can control it in your home. But when they go out there, you don't know what they'll listen to. The driver in the bus, in the school bus, is playing, the same music that So the friends in school have gadgets. They're watching these things. It's illegal in school, but somehow the gadgets make it to school. So you never know where they're consuming it. They could be playing outside, go to the neighbor's house. The neighbor is watching. It could be anywhere. So the exposure is just so great.
Mike, what's your take on this situation? You have kids?
Yes, I have a son.
A son?
9-year-old son. Hi, Jason.
Jason, listen to Daddy very, very well tonight. So are you concerned as a parent? And what really is the biggest scare for you? Raising your son.
And I think just to echo what Pastor Emmanuel is saying, I think the fact that you can control, the only environment you can control is the one that you're immediately in, which is the home. And so one of the things that parents need to do is to ensure that they are constantly present in their children's lives. I mean, not just being physically there, but being present. Because you can be at home and reading a newspaper.
And it's on the phone or on Instagram.
And so what happens? Because you could be at home and you're trying to work and do something. So how do you shut your kids up and make them behave? You give them a tablet. Tell them, no, just go and watch something there on YouTube. Okay? And you're not really, conscious about what it is that they're watching and the things that they're consuming. You could be watching something on your phone and that song is playing and you're like, okay, this song. But your kids are picking up things.
Or the last sites as a parent you were on, maybe you didn't shut it and maybe it was not the appropriate thing for.
And so I keep saying that forget declaring your wealth, declare your browser history.
I like that, that's where the truth is.
That's what the truth really is, the measure of truth. But I think we in this country have got it completely upside down because parents are so busy. We assume that the school is the one that's going to teach our children values. And the school's work is to teach your child mathematics and English and science and whatever. They have no time to do that. And then we assume that the 2 hours or 1 hour that they will be in church, they will pick up the values from there. But values are not taught, values are caught. So children learn from observing. So if they observe their parents doing certain things, that's naturally the first blueprint that they're going to follow.
I just had somebody say the other day that, children listen to what you do, not what you say.
Not what you say.
Yeah, it's more powerful, what you do. So the way you act around them, the things that you do. In fact, even being on the gadgets, I mean, it's like for me, my wife always complains, get off the gadget, get off the gadget.
Oh, you're one of those,
it's just so interesting.
It's so interesting. Like, there's so much out there.
So we consciously have to, just watch out for, what we do because he's picking up on this. They're picking up on this is what we do. know, even though I tell them not to do it, don't do it, but they see me do it, so they're curious and they think this is the way of life.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of treats also, and also the other conversation, so apart from the church, yeah? So let me tell you now the other one. The other one is that parents have become so busy. It's all about work. Others are pursuing masters, PhDs. Others are in businesses. You know, they've opened, you know, wines and spirits all over town. And, you know, they have to stay there for such a long time until morning that they don't have time. But what's the truth about that? But for a fact, parents have to work. I have to be here. Yeah. You know, I have a daughter, Ivana. I'm sure she's watching. But, you know, I'm not there with her. And maybe during the day, I have, you know, business to run. And you still have all these things. And all these things are supposed to help you, you know, make or create a better future for them in terms of the school, neighborhood that they live in. So how do you then have that balance?
I think what you're saying is true, and it's very sad of the society that we're in today. You know, life has become such that you have to juggle multiple things just to make ends meet. Yeah, but then I think at some point you need to look at what is, you know, what's the bigger picture here? Because why are you juggling all those different things? It's for the sake of your children, right? And so if your children don't turn out the way that you expect them to be productive members of society with, you know, a strong value system, all these things that you're doing will have been for nothing. You know, so you need to, as a parent, you need to strike a balance and say, okay, fine, you know, I can actually do away with that nyama choma plan that I had with the boys on Saturday and spend time. Those couple of hours with my kids. Because it's in those informal settings and spaces when you're playing with your children that they actually learn things. It's not when you sit to lecture them.
When you sit to lecture them. What is your take on that?
Well, again, like you said, it's the unfortunate truth.
Sometimes you could have Kesha. You know, or people, you know, like people how, you know, you have this group of this thing, this program that you have, you need time with it. So what happens?
I'll never forget one day my wife told me, I got a little bit busy doing God's work. So, you know, during the day, of course, I'm at work. These are the regular working hours, 8 to 5. And then in the evening, yes. So Tuesday through Friday, 8 to 5.
8 to 5?
Yeah, Monday is off, then Saturday, depending on what event, then Sunday is our big day, of course. So 8 to 5, I'm in the office. Then in the evening, you get a call, Pasi, we need you to come and sort these issues. So you run, if it's a hospital visit, if it's a home visit, if it's a marriage that's on the rocks, you know, there's always different things tagging at you. And I'd never forget this one day. The boys were asking about you. I was like, what do you mean they were asking?
About you?
We live in the same house. What do you mean? Until it hit me, it dawned on me that, oh my God, I have been so busy and I've not spent time with them.
Right.
So I had to change stuff. But the truth is, like, just to echo his sentiments, is that we have become such a busybody society. And we're juggling so many things. And for me, I would ask, you know, all of us who are juggling all this many, what are we really chasing? You know, what are we chasing? Do we have to have all the flashy stuff? Can we live a simpler life and focus on? Just think about it. Now, for us who are in middle class, our children can't go to public school. They can't go. We have to take them to private school.
And it has to be, you know, it has to be Montessori. I mean,
it has to be, the name is very important where it is, you know, because all your friends are taking them there and you just can't be the odd one out. So you're working so hard to take your child here. And is the education there much better than where they would have gone, you know, in a simpler school, less whatever, less stress on you. So there's so many things that we're doing in the name of getting ahead, but I feel like are not important. We need to prioritize the real things.
We have to prioritize.
I have a theory around that because for me, it's what do we understand success to mean and look like. When you're growing up and your parents ask you, what job do you want to do when you grow up? And you say, I want to be, innocently, a bus driver. So no, bus driver, you will never make money, you will never, your kids will never go to a certain school. So immediately you've put money before,
I like that.
You know, money before everything. A better question would be to ask your child, how do you want to change the world when you grow up?
Yeah.
So that then, success is not just seen in monetary...
So it's a broadened way of looking at success.
Yeah, and it's about...
And what to chase.
Yes, and what you bring to the table to make society better. How do you impact individuals and change the world?
I like that. So I want us to move this conversation forward in this sense. So we're talking about all these things that are actually, or elements that are, after our kids, the lyrics, the raunchy videos. You go on Instagram and little girls, are twerking, they're doing things that you're like, oh my, and they're putting these videos out there because they want numbers, they want people to follow them. And, it's so sad. So that time, when you finally have that time, when you finally cancel that plan with your boys, to go for nyama choma somewhere, and you decide, no, these 2 hours, I'll spend it with my kid. What do you tell them? What is it that, what values will you be able to impart in that time that will actually ward off all these other dark forces that are after your kids?
What I feel about that is when you see children doing that, typically I feel like they're trying to fill a certain void.
Right.
And this void is, the parent is absent. We're busy out there working, trying to make, ends meet or, trying to thrive in life. So we're not spending time with them. We're not imparting the values. So they're seeking some form of attention, some form of love from out there.
Right.
And unfortunately, social media has a way of giving you that love.
Yeah.
If you give them the right thing.
It's so easy just like that.
Yeah, it's just so easy. And, you get the likes and the likes give you a high.
Yeah.
So they constantly, seek that and are after that. But, you'll notice children who have present parents, parents who care about them, parents who actually have conversations with them, will be less likely to face
That's
that
true.
or to do that.
All right.
Yeah.
So in that time, Pastor, so the time that you have, what do you tell your kids? How do you make this to be a conversation that is going to help them through the week until the next Saturday when you actually have time to talk to them? How do you go about giving them those values? What do you prioritize?
Well, for me, first of all, I show them that I care about them and I care about everything that they do, everything they're about, every part of their lives. So you ask them questions about that, talk about that, how did it make you feel? Oh, really, that one did this.
Imagine.
And I also share a lot about myself with them. Okay. And I don't share the good only. I also share the struggles that I went through.
The mistakes.
The mistakes, whether it was in school, whether I never say I was number one.
Yeah.
Well, that's for sure.
That was for our
that one
parents.
is,
all of them
that
were
was
number
for
one and all of
parents.
them were in the same
I
school
never
or
tell
class.
them that I was number one. I'll be honest with them. I'll tell them, I didn't with mathematics. So I tell them, you know what? I didn't apply myself, and I got this grade right here. Now, everywhere I go and present this transcript, that's what follows me for the rest of my life. So, this is something I wish I could have changed and actually applied myself because it's not that I'm dumb, and I tell them, so change that script for yourself. So we have conversations about that. And I think parents also are scared to be vulnerable with their children.
They want to be superheroes.
We always want to be, super. But the truth is you're not perfect. You're not. You need to show them there's another side to life and that they can do something different.
I think for me, one of the biggest problems we have is parents don't have a parenting plan.
What do you mean
It's
parenting
true.
plan?
Parenting plan, look, when a teacher goes, you want to instill certain values. When a teacher goes to class, they don't just rock up and start saying whatever it is. They have a plan that they follow for teaching. So we don't have a parenting plan. So what is this you're teaching your child if you didn't plan to teach them something? It's not going to come from the sky. You need to be very conscious about this is the environment that I have with my child. I have got 2 hours or 1.5 hours. In that 1.5 hours, I want to teach them how to be about honesty. I want to teach them about the value of hard work, about confidence. So you have to come with a plan saying, this is how I'm going to address this in the 2 hours that I have before I run to do my biashara or whatever. So we don't. So the other day I was with my son in the car and he's 9. So I'm trying now to get him to understand, relationships, boys and girls. And so I was trying to get him to understand rejection and telling him that, look, it's okay to like a girl. And a girl that might like you back. And this is when we are driving to school. So I know I have like 20 minutes for this lesson to sink in. So I'm like, okay, Jason, so you might like a girl and a girl might like you. Or she might not. And even if she doesn't like you, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. And it doesn't mean that she is a bad person either. So I'm trying to get into these conversations to a point where he understands that, it's fine.
Okay.
If I like a girl and she doesn't like me, I don't have to stalk her. I don't have to start hating her. I don't have to now these lyrics of hate and misogyny and all this and violence, So those, you see, but you have to have a plan and be very conscious about it. I only have a certain finite time with my child. What do I want to teach them? And not lecturing, but what is it I want to teach them? And how can I teach them in a way that they will internalize it.
And also using what he says, that, use personal examples and also be able to show your vulnerability.
Yeah.
All right, so moving forward also, there's something else that came up with the tweets and the conversation, is that even for parents, you see sometimes, they have such a weird way to hang out with their kids, that they will go to a Nyamachoma base on a Sunday afternoon. There's a bouncing castle. So you just pay for your child to just bounce for like 3 hours because you're there enjoying, your beer and your nyamachoma. So does it also reflect these kids, then the way they have all this information and the way they are actually ingesting all this information? Does it also go back to fault the parents? That apart from the parents being busy, working hard and making a living, that they also have also have a price to pay with how their kids turn out?
Like I said earlier on, children listen to what you do more than they listen to what you say. So the way you act around them really impacts their life.
All right.
So the activities that you're doing, are they activities that you're doing together? Are you going to church together? Are you going to the restaurant together? And if you're going to the restaurant together, are you spending time with them?
Right.
As opposed to, we are here, you guys go and play.
Imagine
and so are you spending time with them? I feel like it's very, very important that you intentionally spend time with them and tell them, I'm interested in you.
Right.
The children look up to you more than you would ever know. In fact, I realized today we were having a little retreat, a parenting retreat, and in the conversation,
a parenting retreat.
Yes, we
Please, I need to sign up for that.
Yeah, talk to me after this.
I'll talk to
you. When during the parenting retreat, we were talking and just exchanging stuff, and one of the highlights that came out is I am who I am because of what I saw in my home, because of how my parents impacted me. The way I saw my dad in the home, spend intentional time. Saturday and Sunday, he was full on with us.
Right.
Whether he was taking us to Shags and then back, Saturday, Sunday, doing either nyamachoma together at the house or taking us, for a ride to see tea farms and stuff. Always an activity, but with the family. And we treasure those moments. And those are my favorite moments. It's not any gift he gave me. It's not, it's those moments, I remember them very well, and those moments impacted me. And I realized, in fact, that I brewed my chicken, my kids like chicken, because my parents did the same, and my dad did the same. Right. He held his family close. And I appreciate him for that. Right. And he's probably watching, so.
Hi.
I want to say something about the issue of ethic and the lyrics and all this, right? For me, I think to whom much is given, much is required. If you're an artist in this country, please, you have an audience, you have a platform, you have an opportunity to drive conversations a certain way. And so we will hold you to a higher standard than any other ordinary person on the road. You have 1 million followers, whatever, you post your videos, you get, And to ethic, I know, have an audience. They are talking about, their lyrics mirror things that are happening in society. But my challenge to artists and to everybody who has a platform is this. You can actually convey that message and talk about these issues in a way that does not do harm. So my challenge is to all these artists who are out there is find a way to tell your stories that do not do more harm, but actually advance conversations about these societal challenges that you're talking about.
Because they have a responsibility.
You have a responsibility.
All right.
But does society accept that? Does it make that popular?
Yeah, because remember also people want to jam.
The struggle is they want the,
I don't think anybody wants to listen to a song about a woman being raped. I don't think anybody wants that. So if you have 1 million followers, you have an audience, and you have an opportunity to train that audience to internalize information in a certain way. You have an opportunity to drive conversations. So it's up to you to realize I have this power to be able to drive conversations and impact.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much. So before we wrap, I just want you to give very brief very brief, just one-liners. I know my director Albert is like, no, but just very, very briefly, your last word to parents in this particular discussion.
I think for parents, first it begins with you. It begins with you, being whole and having the right values. Then spending intentional time with your children.
All right.
And actually not with just your children, with your family. Because it's important, if both of you are together, then it's important how you relate with each other. They learn a lot from that.
All right.
Yeah, for me, to all Kenyans, we need to stop this serikali idea mentality. Change begins with you. You need to be the change that you want to see. And there's nothing wrong with calling out people, however popular they are, when they cross the line. So let's all hold each other to a higher standard.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Mike Washira and Pastor Emmanuel Gashanja, thank you so much of Mavuno Church. I'll be signing up for that parental. Not that I'm doing badly, but knowledge is power. All right, thank you so much. I'll be looking at your tweets online, and I'm sure there are quite a number, because even before the discussion started, there were so many other tweets and interactions. So we'll take a short commercial break, and Karen is coming back with sports. Don't go away, all right?